Theories surrounding the Ararat Anomaly arose from a single black and white photograph taken in 1949 by a United States Air Force recon plane that was performing routine intelligence gathering of the Ararat Massif, which was in an area of military interest at the time. This famous photo shows the shoulder of Mount Ararat, only 1,300 feet from the summit, covered in snow, with an odd-looking object on the very precipice of a steep slope. Conspiracy theorists, many of them biblical literalists, claim that the odd-looking object is Noah's Ark, after the Great Flood. Since the Bible pluralizes mountains, the question still stands: which mountain of the area? Mount Ararat is the tallest of the Armenian Plateau, but the whole area of eastern Turkey and western Armenia is mountainous, and Mount Ararat is actually two peaks, with the main peak of prominence for miles around. The anomaly appears to be a very rounded elongation, teetering on the edge of a slope, buried under ice and snow, and it has so roused the curiosity of the US government that planes and satellites have been used to take numerous photographs of it, not all of which, the theory claims, have been made public. The best public views of it can be found online, and the anomaly does look very much like a big boat, approximately 1,000 feet long and 200 to 300 feet wide, which roughly matches the Bible's description of the Ark. A close-up of it appears to show two sets of prongs, one set on each end, and this close-up does look very man-made. Why the US government will not divulge anything further than what is available isn't clear, but the theory claims that, in order to do so, the government would have to declassify top-secret spy satellites, which would set a lot of unwanted media against them in terms of invasion of privacy. The US does have satellites that can photograph a postage stamp from 600 miles overhead, but there are no such photographs of the anomaly. Catharism is a branch of Christianity similar to Gnosticism. Its heyday lasted from the 1000s to the 1300s, and during that time, Cathars throughout Europe so irritated the Roman Catholic Church that the church first tried to convert the Cathars without violence. When that didn't work, they initiated a full-force crusade, the Albigensian Crusade, which brought 20 years of warfare against the Cathar movement. During that crusade, the fortress of Béziers was besieged through most of 1209, at the end of which the Catholic army won and slaughtered every single man, woman, and child in the city, at least 7,000, and possibly as many as 20,000. The leader of the army stated, "Kill them all, the Lord will recognize his own." In the end, the Cathars were effectively suppressed. So why in the world did the Catholic Church pursue this end so violently? Because, according to the theory, the Cathars had copies of various texts sacred to them, and not Catholicism, including the Book of the Two Principles and the Gospel of the Secret Supper. These and other texts depicted Jesus teaching that reincarnation is real, that heaven and hell do not exist, that the God of the Old Testament was indeed Satan, and Almighty God is either Jesus or his Father in heaven, but not the Old Testament God. This is a central tenet of Gnosticism as well. The most earth-shattering point of this theory is that Jesus may have taught that reincarnation is real, leading theorists to speculate about who on earth now is Jesus, and when he'll make his presence known. These apocryphal texts, sacred only to Catharism, are commercially available, most falling under the header of Gnosticism. This theory claims that there is a planet the size of Jupiter, named Nibiru or Planet X, currently as far from us as the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, and that it is on a collision course with Earth. The theory goes that the IRAS infrared satellite, launched in 1983, took a photograph of this object, which was finally leaked to the internet in 2009. The photograph was explained away by NASA as showing 9 galaxies and some intergalactic cirrus, but no other objects. The theory goes on to claim that the US government funded the construction of a very powerful telescope at the South Pole to take pictures of Nibiru and track it. This telescope is claimed by NASA to be a radio telescope, which cannot take pictures, but the theory ignores this to go on. Nibiru cannot currently be seen because it's directly behind the sun. It is impossible to debunk this theory, not because it may or may not be true, but because conspiracy theorists don't have to respect the authority of a government, especially that of the US. Any debunking of evidence in support of Nibiru is immediately denounced as a lie. According to the theory, Nibiru is on its way, and its impacts will obliterate Earth. This theory centers on one man in particular, Samuel Abraham Houschmidt. Houschmidt was a nuclear physicist who headed Operation Alsos as a branch off the Manhattan Project. While America considered it vitally important to beat the Nazis at making the atomic bomb, they found it equally important to hinder the Germans as much as possible. The Allied war effort saw to that by bombing Nazi ball bearing plants. Hardly any machinery in the world functioned without ball bearings, and while the Nazis attempted to research nuclear physics, Houschmidt organized a spy ring to report on how close the Germans were coming to the bomb. His published reports stated that they never got close, but the truth, at least according to this conspiracy theory, is much more insidious. Houschmidt is said to have discovered that the Nazi nuclear physicists, led by Otto Hahn and Werner Heisenberg, actually built the bomb, or at least discovered all the technology involved in building one, and were in the process of doing so, which Hitler intended to use on London, England. In order to counter this, Houschmidt informed the US government, which found it more promising to buy the Nazi scientists off than to carpet bomb the areas where nuclear testing was occurring. Additionally, Houschmidt had been unable to ascertain from the scientists where this testing was being done. After the war, laboratories were discovered all over Germany, which means bombing would not have been feasible. So Houschmidt was given millions of dollars to bribe the Nazi scientists into coming to America with the bomb and all research and material. And those scientists partnered with Robert Oppenheimer, Enrico Fermi, and Edward Teller, and enabled the Americans to finish their fission research and then build the bombs. The Trinity test of July 16, 1945, is claimed by this theory to have been the original Nazi bomb. This theory focuses on a man named Stephen Greer. It incorporates all known extraterrestrial conspiracies and then takes them one step further. Greer claims to have been contacted by aliens. He founded the project in 1992 as a convention for other people who claim to have been contacted. These meetings occur every year in various American cities. They are not secret at all, and even boast some fairly authoritative government agents as members, all attempting to make the US government take the hood off the public's head and disclose the truth about extraterrestrial existence. The one step further is as follows. Greer claims that the aliens brought him good news. They are on their way from distant planets, more than one, and that they come in peace to share scientific, medical, and cultural knowledge. And most importantly, that a specific aspect of their and our planet histories is identical the world's over, that a certain member of each planet's most intelligent species was unjustly killed for its own purpose of removing sins from all other members of that species. Conspiracy theories just don't get any better than this.